Welcome to St. Louis on the Air. I'm Don Marsh. The River Styx literary magazine has been around since 1975, and in a few weeks will be putting out its 100th edition. We'll be talking about its past, its present, and its future with key staffers today. Jason Lee Brown is the magazine's editor. Adrian Todd Zuniga is a writer and co-creator, host, I should say, of the Literary Deathmatch, a performance literary reading series. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us. Nice to have you.
Yeah, thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Well, let me start with you, Jason. What role does a literary magazine play in today's changing media world?
Well, it depends what kind it is. We are a nonprofit literary magazine. We're not under the auspice of any university. We do outreach programs. We do Grand Boulevard workshops, River Styx writers workshops, workshops for teachers, and then we publish a magazine twice a year, and that includes fiction, poetry, nonfiction, art from local writers and writers from basically all over the world.
Adrian, have any writers been launched on writing careers through publication in River Styx?
Actually, Jason would know that.
Okay.
Yes, we try to publish for the 100th issue. We have a writer who this is her first publication, and then we have writers who've won many awards. So we try to publish writers from the beginning of their career to writers who are well known in the literary community. So yes, we often see writers we publish earlier who go on to do bigger and better things for sure.
Adrian, what's your role in all of this? So
I'm going to be at the River Styx dinner tonight. I think I'm officially the featured guest. I don't know, or the featured reader. So I have a debut novel out, and I've been doing literary deathmatch around the world for 13 years. So they thought I was that my haircut was nice enough to bring into a dinner to do a reading and entertain.
Well, and as much as you brought that up, let's mention this is happening at the Squires Annex tonight. What is that all about?
It's basically a fundraiser for River Styx, and a really important thing to support the magazine. And I know there are a handful of tickets still available, so I know everybody at the radio is pulling their car over right now to buy a ticket, which we appreciate. But Jason can probably say a more glamorous version of what that's about.
Glamour it up, Jason.
Yeah, glamour it up.
This is our annual fundraiser, and this is basically how we sustain ourselves, along with the grants from the Missouri Art Council and other places like that. So we, people come out and eat dinner, and we have a raffle and other things to help support us to raise money.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned a whole series of other things that you do, aside from publishing the magazine. Give me a little greater sense of that. Some of it I'm not sure that I fully understood.
One of the things we do is the River Styx reading series, and we bring in bigger writers and local writers through all the months. It's the third Monday of every month except for the summer months. Mm-hmm. And that basically we bring in 2 writers usually for every reading. And we just finished up this series right over there at CAM, and next series will start sometime in the fall. We also have Hungry Young Poets, which is where we try to find local emerging writers and poets to come and read for us, and that's a series that we do in the summer. And then for River Styx is also committed to the literary needs of our community. So we try to offer several outreach programs designed to bring the joy and education and merits to creative writing to our community. And those are through one of them is the Grand Boulevard Workshop. It's a literacy and creative writing program for children ages 6 to 14 who are currently residing in one of the St. Louis emergency shelters. Mm-hmm. And then we also do the River Styx Writers Workshop, and that's a weekly creative writing workshop for adults who want to learn more about writing, poetry, fiction, nonfiction, those types of things.
What kind of a writing community do we have here in St. Louis?
A very vibrant and great one, I think. From plenty of good writers around here. We have also other literary magazines that are here as well.
Sure.
And you grew up here, is that right?
Yeah, I did. And for having a debut novel, I've been based in London for 2 years, LA 5 years before that. And in New York before that, and Paris. So I've sort of
Are
gravitated.
the cops chasing you or
Yeah,
something?
they're after me. They're very hot on my heels. But coming here to do an event was really special for me because the second act of the book takes place in St. Louis, and going to Left Bank Books and having family members, having people I knew from high school show up. It was really cool, and you never know who's going to show up to a bookstore when you do an event like this, but especially since I'm a debut novelist. But yeah, it was really cool in talking about the impact that Left Bank has on the community and River Styx, and just sort of feeling around. And I'm like, wow, it's quite a special place. And T.S. Eliot was from here, or born here, so pretty good history.
Tennessee Williams also.
Tennessee Williams, yeah.
What is the status, do you think, of bookstores like Left Bank Books and others, given today's digital buying power?
Yeah, it's interesting to me. It's an independent publisher out of L.A. published my book, Rare Bird Books, and that sort of launched me into this world of understanding how important independent bookstores are. And if you buy a book from Amazon, the author's very grateful. But you basically are just a series of zeros and ones to them. But when you buy from an independent bookstore like Left Bank, somebody's going to put that book in the envelope. Somebody's going to see that you've done that and go, oh, that's interesting. We should read that. We should promote that. We should put it at the front of our store. So the independent bookstore is just such a powerful place in a community. And I think, you can argue that, nobody reads and all this stuff. That's sort of a bad, silly argument. It seems like an easy one to make, but it's not actually true. And when you support the independent bookstores in every city, every great place has them. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I have just talked for a while.
I think you are. Jason, what's your take on that?
I've read lately that a lot of the smaller bookstores are making a comeback. So I've always been a firm believer that people want the written word and paper in front of them. I know the people I know who are readers do, and my daughter does. So I think there's something to having a text in front of you for most people. So I don't think books or bookstores are ever really going to go completely out. I think it's just going to adjust and maybe develop into something a little different or a little more technology driven.
Adrian, I'd mentioned in the introduction that you are the co-creator and host of the Literary Death Match. What in the world is that? It sounds ominous.
It seems ominous. We started it 13 years ago, and basically it's 4 authors read their own work for 7 minutes or less, and then we have them judged by 3 celebrity judges in the categories of literary merit, performance, and intangibles. So it's a mix of actors, comedians, writers. We've had ballerinas, conceptual artists. It's a pretty fun mix. We've had a chef. And so they judge the work in a very loving, sweet, fun, odd way. And then it all culminates in a finale, which is a vaguely literary game. So we played Pin the Mustache on Hemingway, or an author spelling bee with more and more complicated author names. So, and I open the show, I host it, and I basically do literary stand-up. So I do tons of research on writers, and you find out some pretty amazing things. Like F. Scott Fitzgerald once said about Hemingway, he said he's always willing to lend a helping hand to those above him. And so there's a lot of snark and things through the history of literature, just to, I like kind of putting it in joke form.
Okay, Pin the Mustache on Hemingway?
Yeah.
Explain that.
We just blindfold writers. We haven't done that one for a couple of years, but we blindfolded writers, spun them around, and they just gave them a series of mustaches from different authors. I don't know why that seemed funny to us. And they walked across the stage and tried to stick it on Hemingway's face.
Well, what is your mission with all of this? What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, our thing is we really like pop culturalizing books and sort of putting books in the same landscape as television or email, because effectively our belief is that it's about attention and fighting for that attention, and reading the different ways we come to books is really important. And if you show up to our show because there's a comedian that you love, or Jason Reitman has judged for us, he directed Tully, which is the new movie by Diablo Cody, who also judged for us. You might show up for those people and for the celebrity or the humor, but then you end up introducing yourself to writers and going like, oh, wow, that's what literature is. I have this great fear that everybody wants to read, and sometimes there are people that don't read enough, and they say, okay, I'm going to go to the bookstore, I'm going to get the best book there. They go and buy it. The greatest book there. They go and buy it. They go home. They read 2 pages of Ulysses, and they just give up because they're like, ugh. But then when you come to Literary Deathmatch, when you read River Styx, you find out that this is writing. Like, this is actually what writing is, and it reflects the culture and reflects the people that are living in it. So, we just like getting people fired up about it and giving them a good laugh along the way.
Jason, who are your readers?
Literary people, but we like to say that we're smart but accessible, so we want to also be able to be read by pretty much anybody. So if you're reading even a poem, that on the surface level, you should be able to understand what's going on, and then after more readings, you can understand the deeper level. But we want to be able to access people who are just normal readers as well.
Where is the magazine available?
It's available. Best place to do is probably go to riverstyx.org. That's our website, and we have, you can order subscriptions, but they're also at bookstores and other places online.
Is there much of a market today for poetry?
I don't know. I think that's an eternal question that they've been arguing, but I always say yes. I mean, there's tons of poets out there. We get thousands of submissions, poets who want their work published. So I would have to say that poetry is probably as strong and as alive as it has ever been.
Yeah, it feels so. I mean, Dinesh Smith, Saeed Jones, there are people out there that are doing some incredible work, and Claudia Rankine. There are people out there that are really laying the wood, which is a term nobody ever uses in terms of poetry and literature, but they're doing it.
Jason, what are your criteria for contributors and for selection? How do you determine what goes in and what does not?
I always say that I want to be entertained and emotionally engaged with the work. And if you're doing that, I'm pretty much open to anything. But it's a process. We have so many submissions. We narrow them down. We have interns at River Styx, so we include them on the editorial decisions and how we put things together, and so they can learn what it is to put together a magazine from beginning to end.
Your 100th edition is coming out this summer, I think you said. Can we expect anything special with regard to this anniversary and this event?
Yes, our release party will be June 28th at the ZAC.
You guys like to party, don't you?
Yeah, it seems so. I like it.
And I'm proud of this issue. This is my first issue because I took over in November. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think it is a little different is that we went ahead and solicited an intro from our founding editor and our former editor, which is Michael Castro and Richard Newman. So they kind of help explain how we got to 100, because the idea for most literary magazines that for them to reach 100 issues is it doesn't happen very often.
I have to say this, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but I think of all the publications that might be out there, the literary magazine would be way down in the ladder in terms of general public interest. Would you agree?
I'm hoping to change that. So if people do think that, I hope you don't think that, because literary magazines are, this is where you get your stories. These are where you find writers that later, like you said, are going to be writing the books that you might be reading. So I'm hoping that that's not totally the case. But yes, I would say that, for people who are looking for, the 5-inch word that you're just going to read and throw away, yes, but we could do that for a poem. You can take a poem and read one poem, put the book down, pick it back up and read it again, or read the story or whatever else is in it. I mean, it doesn't take long to look at art either as well, and we think we do all of those pretty well.
Our art is also included
yes.
in the publication. Adrian, you were sitting there nodding as Jason was talking. You're right in line with this.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the literary magazine, like the independent bookstore, I think it's a thing that, it's a very busy world. So every once in a while we want to just, read something easy or just flip through a magazine. But I think supporting literary magazines is such a huge thing. I ran a literary magazine called Opium. It was a literary humor magazine, and I did that for 10 years. We had 9 print issues, and it is a grind, but we really were finding people that were just so exceptional. And it's a cool place to involve yourself. And I think if you want to be a writer, I think it's a great place to say, this is what I'm up against. This gives me a very good idea. And, you can submit your work, and it's kind of one of those unsung heroes of literature. But, they publish people like Rita Dove, who's won the Pulitzer Prize. I feel like she's won every prize in the world, but it was cool seeing her name on the alum list. But yeah, I just think literary magazines have a lot of power, and they're very inspiring. And it is, sometimes it is tough to just be like, I don't know, literature, whatever. But you flick open and suddenly read an 8-page short story that changes your life and gives you new insight. I think that's really important.
Jason, are you doing anything to attract young readers? I mean, they're the future. If you want to continue and be successful, you have to have an audience for the next generation. What are you doing?
Absolutely, and we try to incorporate. We take online submissions now, which we used to not do, and we still take snail mail submissions as well. We have our website, and we try to do all the things that the youngsters are trying to do now. But at the same time, we're still, we're pretty established, and we want an audience from young to as old as you can get as a writer. I mean, we're not very worried about age group or anything like that. We're worried about, what kind of work are you sending in, and I would say, as a writer as well, that running a literary magazine and working on them voluntarily before I did this helped me become a way better writer for several reasons. So if people out there who are emerging writers want to help, we take volunteers. We have readers who read for us, and you get to read and get to comment on submissions like that. And what that does is it allows a writer to see what other writers are doing and what default moves they're making and what bad things they're doing, because really that's what you learn the most is what not to do when the bad things are coming in.
What sort of submissions do you get from younger writers? And I don't know how far down the pole to take this, whether we're talking about teenagers or very young adults. Tell me about that part of it.
Absolutely. We get from high school students to, every age. And right now I'm working with a high school student who just submitted through our queue, and her writing rang out so... It was just so good and stood out in a way. It's not publishable right now, but I've been emailing her back and forth because she has so much talent, and I want to be there when she's got something good enough that I feel as we can publish, because I feel like she's going to do great things later. So that's what I try to do with the younger writers, is try to help them basically do what I wanted people to help me do when I was younger.
Yeah, to me, that's such a huge factor, because you never know what those people's lives are, who's telling them, keep going, you can do this. So to have somebody out there who's just championing you and just makes you go like, oh, wow. Because really, it is just a huge hill that you're climbing. It took me 13 years to finish my first novel, and it's like, that hill, every once in a while, you just need somebody to push you for a while, and it's really nice. And I think that's another thing that literary magazines do that's so important.
So if I want to contribute, I just go online and either that or get your address and send you whatever it is I've written for consideration. Are there any restrictions on subject matter?
Not necessarily. I mean, we're not going to take anything that's, homophobic or racist or any of these types of things. But as far as literary standards go, I'm pretty open to pretty much anything, style-wise, form-wise. So I try not to put any restrictions on it in that sense.
And restrictions on length. Some people can go on and on. You mentioned Ulysses.
Yeah.
Well, we are a little unique in the literary world because our publication is a little smaller than other ones, and we try to emphasize the writers that we have in ours. So we do have a little bit of a limit on word length for our prose, but if something goes over that and we like it, we'll publish it.
All right. Well, let's give another commercial for your event tonight. I know you want to get as many people as possible so you can raise some money. Adrian, do you want to take that?
Yeah, it's going to be tonight at 7 p.m. at Squire's Restaurant. You can go to riverstyx.org to sign up for tickets. I believe it's $75. Is that right?
I think so.
It sounds, and that seems very cheap to me for the amazing night. And you get dinner, you get to hear me read the first chapter of my book, and we're going to play I think we're going to do a literary spelling bee just for fun with the people there. But yeah, I'm a huge champion of these things because I think they're really important. And also, being in St. Louis, super flattered to be invited to this, and being from St. Louis. And if you're out there and you're like, where do these people, where do they gravitate? Where do they gather? Like, this is a great place to meet other people that are interested in things like
What is the title of your book?
It's called Collision Theory.
Collision Theory?
Yeah.
And it's available?
It is, yeah. Came out on April 17th.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
I'll take
After 13 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add, Jason, before we say goodbye?
No, thanks for having us. I really appreciate it.
It's great to talk to you.
It's great to promote the magazine and let people know about it, because I want as many people to know about River Styx Literary Magazine as I can.
Where can folks find the magazine?
You can get it online at riverstyx.org.
Is that the only way?
No, I mean they're at I think Left Bank Books, and we have them at other bookstores and other online places also sell them. Okay,
great. Well, thank you very much, Jason Brown. Great to talk to you. Good luck with the magazine. Adrian Zuniga.
But everybody messes that
Zuniga?
up.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, spell that for me, so when they go ask for the book, they'll get it right.
Yeah, it's Zuniga. It's available at Left Bank specifically because they had to order more. We had a great reading. So, yeah.
Well, good luck with that, too.
Thank you.
This is St. Louis on the Air on St. Louis Public Radio, 90.7 KWMU.
Support comes from Missouri Forest Products Association, committed to sustainable and sound conservation of the state's forests, which support more than 41,000 Missouri jobs, resulting in a $10 billion industry. ChooseWood.com.